My name is Mohamed Ali. I'm the chairman of Somali American Peace Council and been to the States, most powerful city in the world, for over 30 years, educated in the U.S. and originally from Somalia.
Okay, sir, let's talk about Somalia.
Okay.
It's a very interesting place on this planet.
Yes.
Unfortunately, not the most fortunate place. What is the cause, or what are causes of Somalia's problem? Can we talk like that?
Yes, absolutely. Somalia has a problem. You can start with the Cold War, where there's both superpower. They needed to have the military base of Somalia was the most important place to have, both for Russia and the United States. Our first president, Aden Abdullah Osman, which was like the George Washington of Africa, a great man, he sent in a delegation where his prime minister was leading to come to the White House, and Kennedy, the President Kennedy, welcomed him. But they requested some training with their police officer or something, and the talk was like they were being denied because this country has a darling, which is Ethiopia for them, and the two countries have some border dispute. So they told them to go back to the colonials, to the British or the Italians. They really take that was not really something nice. They didn't flew back to Mogadishu. They flew straight to Moscow and make a deal with the Russians. And it seems at one point that the U.S. never forgive Somalia. And Somalis are go-getters. They're not like waiting for somebody. So anyway, the Russians had there, and we have the last 20-something years before the war, a dictator from the military regime. And they were having friendly with Russia, and they give the military base, and the Russia was giving them whatever money they want, whatever military equipment they want. The sad part is when the Russians tried to make a revolution in Ethiopia and they bring somebody called Mengistu, they tried to bring both sides, both two countries. It was complicated. You really need both at the same time. But the Somalis see this is their full country, so they kick the Russians out. And then Carter was president, and the U.S. took over the military base. So both nations, it depends the time of the year. From 1977 until the end of the Cold War, the U.S. was supporting Somalia, that same regime there was human rights abuse and all kind of soever, but they don't care. Everybody was like thinking American interests or Russian interests at the time. So when the Cold War was over, the Somalis finally uprised, get rid of the dictator and the whole military regime. The sad part is the different so-called leaders, rather than bringing the people together and reconcile, each was having a hidden agenda to replace. Now the people, everybody has guns. They say, hell with it. We're not going to accept another 20-something years some dictatorship. So that's the problem. And rather than when there's a fire, you call the firefighter, rather than coming to help, the international community are really, most of them, are the one who are putting gas to the fire and making the situation problem, in particular the Somalis' enemy. And until today, their military is everywhere, which we really don't appreciate. We want Kenya and Ethiopia to be out of Somali territory.
Okay, I wanted to talk about your neighbors. Ethiopia is, as I understood, bigger problem for Somalia than Kenya.
That's true, absolutely right. Kenya and Somalia was like, you can say, good brotherly neighbor. We never had a problem. By the way, half of the population are our brothers in faith. And you have part of Somalia called NFD, which is part of Somalia, that is part of them, like New Mexico is, which have no problem whatsoever. They've been treated well. They're part of the government. It's wonderful. And we always have a relationship. But unfortunately, for whatever reason, there's oil interests and there's other interests. They want to have a Kismaya, which is a very important port of Somalia, and they invaded Somalia. I mean, I remember when we had wars with Ethiopia and the dictator, the people say, don't worry, our woman is enough sufficient to live, because they're not people who really go to wars. And I really would like to advise them to think about this thing and not to start having animosity, because Kenya is known to have a hub of economical for the whole 5 countries that's landlocked near them. And there's a lot of Somalis who live them, and we love them, and they love us as a people. But unfortunately, the current administration made a big mistake. And unfortunately, the UN, African Union leaders are not advising them to back off. They're actually supporting them to do. In the West, unfortunately, there are countries who are pushing this. They would like to have Kenya to go through this nonsense. But the main problem between Somalia and Ethiopia is the problem. And these are government-to-government problems. We used to interfere in their political thing. The current leaders, by the way, we help them. They could never have been leaders without us. Everywhere in the world they go, they were flashing Somali passport. We welcome them. So rather than helping Somalia today, they become to really bite the hand that feed them. We really do not appreciate. We are very grateful both countries' people welcome our refugees, have a good relationship. There's no problem between people to people, but if this continued problem goes on, it can become like the Middle East, where the people will start hating each other. So our advice for the Somalis in Ethiopia and Kenya to be good neighborly, rather than all this interfering each other. And right now we are in a bad situation, and they're taking advantage and dividing our people. We really do not appreciate that. And we want the international community, especially the West, to tell them back off.
And now you have long, bloody war.
Yes.
Can you a little bit elaborate about this
Yes.
current war?
Yes. Well, it's a very sad thing. We have a way of life that teaches you really to be brotherly, not only the Somali among themselves, but if there's a Chinese who have the same faith, or the Bosnian in this case who have the same faith, some of the ones who have the same faith, or Middle Eastern or black person, it doesn't matter, that you are really brothers of faith. So you really have to respect each other, and you don't have to be fighting. And unfortunately, the tribal thing, it's been taken advantage by the last administration, where they said, oh, we put the tribal thing engraved. But basically, they were like farm that you were planting, and the seeds now finally come. And that's what we are harvesting today. Somalis have to use their common sense. They have to use their faith, go back, reconcile themselves. And there was never been, up to today, a genuine peace reconciliation. The North had it. Puntland had it, because the international community game is they would like Somalia to be having the problem. So what they did, they left the North, and some of the Western countries whispered to their ear, we will give you independence, and they want to secede. Nobody recognized for the last 20-something years. We will love our brothers. I might be from the South, but I love the people from the Netherlands. I have literally towards liking them because we have the same high school. We want many of them in Brandon Secondary School. So we would like the countries to come back together. We need a charismatic leader who will bring the people together, and it will happen, because we're not going to be in this nightmare for a long time. It's going to come out.
The central government is really weak.
It's very weak. Absolutely, you're right.
Can they be a little bit stronger? Is that possible with those people in those government, this government?
Yeah. Well, the problem we have is you have, like they did in Bosnia, you have like foreigners imposing their will. Somalis, you have a problem, we need a Somali solution. And the way you can get a Somali solution to have really start first a genuine peace reconciliation among all the different people. The same way what the Northern Province did. And they had peace for quite a time now, over 20 years now. That's the only way. We have a tradition that people sit under the tree where they really talk about their grievances, forgive each other, and they come back together. They actually even intermarry for the sake of really coming the people and to heal the problems. We need that kind of thing. We need the Somali situation. We tried here with the help of some Americans, I won't mention the name, a great man who's a friend of Somalia, and he helped us through the George Mason University, the Law Center, and made a wonderful thing. You can Google, I'll give you their name. It's called mandeg.org. I was one of the catalysts. We bring a lot of Somalis, over 100 people, came from all North America, and we're trying this to be a movement, go all over from here to Europe to all the way to the country, which have a lot of really recommendations. What we think is a solution. But unfortunately, our government here, the current administration, is not listening to us. We had an opportunity a year ago. Somali American Peace Council made an event like this with the help of U.S. Institute of Peace, David, great man who's the vice president there, and we invited professors, doctors, engineers, generals. We have Somali ex-generals still here. We have people who know what the solution is, who really cares about the country, but nobody's listening to us. Luckily, we get an invitation at the White House, and myself and another gentleman, we went to the White House. We met two great ladies. One was a vice special president advisor, and the other person was the head of the national security in Africa. Wonderful people. And I would like to contact them again about what we did in mandeg.org and see they were really genuine. The State Department is the part that we are really complaining more. They're not listening to us. I wish Hillary would listen to this thing, and hopefully we'll do something about it. Because they really, I asked a question last time, Johnny Carson, who's the person head for Africa, and I asked him, why don't we elect or made a special envoy like Holbrooke type, or George Mitchell, the ex-senator, and his answer was like, yes, special interest in Somalia, but not special envoy. It's recorded. It's very sad. I mean, we really need this country to become sincere to help Somalia. The man in the White House is our native son. He came from, the Russians, not the Russians, the Irish claim that he's like 2%, 3% his blood. 95 or more his blood is from us, from East Africa. So for goodness sake, we want these people to listen to us, to the Somali Americans who cares about this country and care about that country.
As a Somali American, can you help? You'll be involved in politics.
Yes, we can help if we can become a bridge. Because as I said, When Somalia, the U.S. Marines sent to the Operation Restore Hope, which was very successful, by the way, the American operation, it's called Operation Restore Hope. The main general head of it, General Johnson, he was looking at some Somali Americans, and he asked a private company to hire. When I heard this, I was the people who were asking the U.S. military to send to help Somalia. We volunteered. I had a government job at the time. We went there, and the American wrote a letter to say we have to secure the job because this was a national service. I went to Somalia, and we helped it. Things was really prospering. It was doing well. But when we left, and they were giving to the UN, and an American guy was the head called General Howell, Admiral Howell. He was one of the main people who captured Noriega. So they fumbled and made the same mistake. Somali's tribal thing, if you really believe your leader's been taken, people, even none of his tribe was like, how dare you come trying to fight? They fight Americans. And unfortunately, we have Black Hawk Down and all the kind of bad thing. And the last administration, George Bush, really was really a nightmare for us because we believe it was a proxy war where he used our enemy, Ethiopia. They could never dare come to our country without that help. And today they are in our country without America, but they are without some of us. Some of the Somalis themselves are leading to us. And we are looking and watching who's helping, who's not helping. There are many people we give credit, like the first Irish president. She was the first Western person who went to Somalia and said, there is a problem here, we have to help. Her name was Mary, I forgot her last name. She works with the UN Human Rights now.
Robinson.
Yes, and it's a great lady in the United States. The first person who went there was Nancy Kanzabam. She's still alive, wonderful lady. An ex-senator for a Republican. She went there to the heart of Somalia, Beledweyne, and asked the UN people to come to Nairobi and said, you're not going to be sleeping, staying in these luxury places. I've been there in Somalia. It's very safe. You either go and help Somalia or get out of here. Unfortunately, they're still there.
Are you going to be part of next election?
It's going to be August this summer. And actually, personally, I was willing to throw my hat into it. And unfortunately, it's a lot of family pressure. I bow down out of it, and I'm not going to be running the election. But I tell you what, it's those people who are running, I hope they will have a fair thing, because the way it looks like the current people are manipulating is being given, because this thing is all still imposed by the foreigners. There's no a genuine Somali situation where the Somalis themselves can decide. Of course, they can impose some people on us, like the way they did this weak government we have now, who everybody don't really respect them because they've been imposed from outside. The people themselves have to be. Unfortunately, that's not what's happening, but I pray for the best. This coming 4 years will be different than what we had before. There are a few parties like Hil Qaran and other people, and they're trying to join themselves. And I really support Hil Qaran. There's two brothers called the Samatar and the Abdi Samatar. They're both professors in Minnesota, and Ahmed Samatar, great people, and a lot of other good Somalis, like the ex-prime minister also is running, and so on and so forth. I hope those people will have a chance, and they have to think, what can I do for the country? Rather than all these things, everybody is taking advantage of the country.
How many Somalis do you know that for sure? How many Somalis live here in America?
Well, a lot. The largest population are in Minnesota. The second largest are in Ohio. And the third is somewhere in, I think, San Diego, and then Washington, Seattle, and then Washington, D.C. area. As I mean, we are all over the place, and we can bring the people. That's not the problem. But we would like our government here, since we are American citizens, to listen to us. We can tell them what the problem is, and we can help them. But unfortunately, that's not the case. Because I really think because of this foreign policy of the United States, whether it's last administration or this one, they consider the Somalis enemy as a darling. We don't mind. Like the United States have a good relationship with Israel, but at the same time they have a good relationship with Saudi Arabia. They can have the same thing. But we don't want the relationship they have and the darling they have with Ethiopia to be our expenses. And our people are suffering. I mean, almost 500,000 people died in Somalia with this thing. This thing is going on over 21 years, for goodness sake. It's human morally to everybody, Muslim or non-Muslim, Western or non-Western, to come together and have a solution for this country.
For average American, it's my opinion, the average American knows 3 terms connected with Somalia. Black Hawk.
Yes, yes.
Terrorism.
Yes.
Conspiracy.
Yes. That's true. Well, it's very sad that Black Hawk Down took place, and not only we lost a lot of Americans, I myself am an American, I work with the Marines, so we're very sorry about that. But at the same time, there are thousands of Somalis died with that operation. Because remember, the Marines themselves were not just sitting down, somebody was just killing them. There was a killing on both sides. But whatever it was, that was a very bad thing because we had a gentleman called Boutros Ghali for the UN who was really trying to impose things. We have a new administration called President Bill Clinton, which I admire the man. I voted twice for him. Great, smart guy. And he finally decided the right thing by just pulling out. I think that was the right thing, rather than continuing and killing a lot of Somalis, which they could do. This is the most powerful military in the world. So that's one thing. The terrorist thing, and as far as we actually created the last administration of their proxy war, we never had extremists in Somalia. That's why with this Al-Shabaab thing and all these extremist people come through, when they invited, when you see the whole world is against you, you have no choice. You're trying to defend your country, but unfortunately they have been misled and they really doing wrong things, because I'm a Muslim myself and Islam believes moderation. Ummatul Wusta, we are a people in the middle. That's what our Prophet said. You have to really live your life in a very moderate way, not in an extremist either to the left or to the right. So unless we really have a genuine Somali solution and come up with a good government, we will always have this problem. And I really would like the Bosnians in particular, who have the same suffering that we had. They had like more than 4 years maybe. Ours is 21 years going on. So through their experience, like the Turkish, who are really very genuinely helping Somalia, we would like to see the European brotherly we have to come and help Somalia, hopefully.
You mentioned Al-Shabaab, and I read yesterday something from State Department that State Department think that Al-Shabaab is maybe the most dangerous wing of Al-Qaeda.
Yes.
Is that true? What do you think about that?
Well, I don't know. I'm not like a U.S. government or any government who have a secret or intelligence to inform me. Definitely the danger is there, because there's a lot of Somali youth Americans who have American passport who can go. And there was actually even a complaint. That I can understand. But these problems cannot be resolved, and really we sincerely want to help Somalia to have a serious, because it's a lot of insincere thing about the Somali thing. I mean, even this policy that the U.S. has called dual track policy, we were telling them from get-go, please don't do this. This will really, because everybody's going to have a clean place. They say, oh, America, come and help me. And we have like 20-something presidents, everybody claiming. By the way, even some people even called me, they said, why don't you be the president of our group? And I'm like, no, we want to bring the country together. We don't want to have small little presidents. We want to have one strong, united Somalia, and it's going to happen. So the Shabab thing and this piracy thing is wrong, and it's un-Islamic, it's not our tradition. We can really resolve those kind of things, but we really need to have a genuine thing where we really let the Somali solution. Not like there's something called Kampala Accord. I don't know whether you're following this thing. It's the most worst thing they did for us. And the president threw his prime minister under the bus so to save his seat. And Kampala was supposed to really help us, because we helped them. They used to have a war between Uganda and Tanzania. There's a Mogadishu Accord. You can go to the Library of Congress and find out. It was the best solution. Until today, they have peacefully those two countries. We helped them. Somalia used to be a strong, great country, military-wise and everywise. Unfortunately, we are down today. And those countries we help, we expect them. Ugandans are really trying their best. But we really would like to get some help, because now Somalia is in a situation where they really need a hand up, not hand down. So that's not happening, unfortunately, and there's all kind of other problems. That's why I'm really appealing. Our organization was the first who really wrote to the Prime Minister. Tayyip means in English good. And we try to explain he's really good. He's a great Prime Minister who appreciates that country. And we would like to see Bosnia and other people who have the same faith to come seriously like that and help the country.
Can government forces in Somalia win over Al-Shabaab?
Well, that's part of the problem. This Kampala Accord was supposed to take care for security, which we don't have no security. We have a small military that they train it, that's there, but the bigger military is from Uganda and other countries, Burundi and so on and so forth. Now Djibouti is joining. They give those people $1,000 salary, while the Somali military or the force, the security force person will be given only 100. That sometimes they get, sometimes they don't get. And guess what? If they get wounded, no more salary for them. How do you expect that person with what kind of moral they can fight? You really need to put a good Somali national force, which nobody's doing for the last 21 years. The next thing is you really need to worry about to have good governance. It's a joke what we have. We don't have a good government there. We really need a genuine good governance where they give service to the people. Then you can think about the constitution. There's this constitution now they are imposing to our throat. Nobody wants. It's outside made, and no Somali wants. Even if they pass it, they cost like about $40 or $60 million from the UN, and it's still ongoing on. They try to bring some people here into the diaspora, and nobody likes them. We had a constitution. The problem was never been a constitution. We have a constitution 1960 that's been passed by the whole people, voted by the people. If that's something needed amending, we can do that. Why we have there's also a charter thing that this transitional government constitution that was going on. With this current constitution, they are imposing, the idea first was to have security and good governance constitution. Now they are trying, we're going to finalize and do the constitution. You don't have the first two. How can you even have a constitution? Even if they pass it, we will never accept this because this is from outside. Whatever constitution is going to happen, have to come from the people. And that is Islam.
Who is paying Al-Shabaab? Who is giving the weapons?
I have really no idea, but could be the same people themselves who are helping the so-called government, because they can be helping sometimes both sides. And they want the thing to go on. Because every time the government makes some progress, you see Ethiopians will come and invade and destroy something. So Al-Shabaab will get some recruits or something. And some Middle Easterns, I'm hearing either individual or something, who are sending money and helping them. So we really have the firefighters, rather than helping, putting gas to the fire in Somalia. We really would like people like the president of Bosnia and people, all over the world who really cares about Somalia to stop it and say, stop this foreign interference. I'm really glad that the Prime Minister Tayyip Erdogan made a good speech at the United Nations last time. We can help Somalia, and they prove it. The Turks are there. They have more than 11 organizations who are helping the people. They giving scholarships to the kids and so on and so forth. So all those other countries who are really willing to help, they can help. And that's what we need. And believe me, when Somalia comes out, we know who helped us, like we respect that the Irish president, Nancy Kanzerman, we remember who helped, who hurts. We're going to really pay back anybody who helped us back, because there's a plenty of resources in the land. So we would like to really appreciate everybody who's helping us.
If I am a traveler, some cruise ship,
yes.
I really try to avoid Somali coast.
I won't blame you. By the way, in Islam, it's not a law. It's called qat' al-tariq. You're not allowed to cut and put a barricade in the street and don't let people go unless you start, ransom them or forcing them to money. It's actually that kind of person should be actually killed in our religion. You're not allowed to do that. The market is supposed to be a free market. You should let. Even the Prophet, he said, peace be upon him, he never set price for the people went there. He said, no, the market should be freely, shouldn't be interfered. So what they're doing is really wrong, and I won't blame someone like you, anybody who wants to go, not to go. But this, by the way, if it becomes peace, then the outside will not be a problem. Because we used to have one of the best navy as well. Not only we have the best military, but we have one of the best navy in Somalia. So all those things, inshallah, will come back with helping countries who can help us to train and have a genuine government. All this will be a problem. Right now, you have all the Europeans who went there, spending a lot of money, and their ships are all over the place. And this thing is still happening. The only thing that can be helped is inside. If there's a good government there and a good navy, we never had that problem before, and we're never going to have it.
Somalia is a poor country.
Yes.
But you have some resources.
By the way, I disagree. Somalia is a very rich country because we have two rivers that came from the Nile area called Juba, Shabelle. Juba and Shabelle, with the right technology, you can feed 10 times more than the Somali population. There's no good leadership in Somalia. That's what's happening. You have the longest beach in Africa, the most beautiful beach in the world. You have the resource of the ocean. There's oil found in Somalia. And we knew this, but it was never been public, but now it's public. And maybe that's also one of the main problems. Somalis was always saying no. When somebody comes with a company or a government, they say, if you want to help and get our resources, you have to come with a fair share. Not like give you 10%, I'll get this resource belongs to the people. You have the know-how, we have the resource, let's work together and have in a very fair way where we can educate the people and the people will get money and the companies who have the know-how will make the money as well. But not like they trying, my opinion is they're trying to make Somalia like United Arab Emirates. You have Puntland, Somaliland, and other lands that's coming now, and they want to divide us, become weak, so they can get the resources they cheap. Because the previous leaders from the first president, Adam Abdullah, including the last dictator, Siad Barre, was a strong man. He was saying, no, I'd rather have this thing not for my kids, maybe my kids' generation. You have the uranium, you have all kind of minerals in Somalia. It's a rich country, it just needs good leadership. We need a Nelson Mandela type, somebody who come out, who brings the people together, not to divide the people together.
What about the Islamic countries? Are they trying to help Somalia? Are they active? Are they active enough?
Well, the only country that's really very active is doing very well as the Turkish, and we really appreciate that. After they did that, there was a lot of international door opening, because the Prime Minister, remember, he took his wife and his kids to go there. And he has an embassy, an ambassador there. And I think it was one of the wealthiest Saudi men went there as well. I forget his name. Talal, bin Talal something. And a lot of Qatar and Kuwait, which I used to live in that country, great also. It started helping. But not the same like the Turkey. And I hope they will do that like that. And that's really what's needed. And our faith actually recommend this, that when your brother is in need, you have to go and help.
Maybe Qatar could be more involved?
Yes, Qatar is really involved, but we would like to see them to be even more involved. Kuwait, the same thing. Saudi Arabia, the same thing. We really respect those countries because we are brotherly in faith, And come and look at it. 60 years, what happened in Palestine? There's a problem that they are not only the same faith, but same brother Arably. It's not really been helped as they should. So something is not right in that area, but we hope they're going to follow the footsteps of the Turkish and try to help, and it's going to be a really genuine help there.
Can Somalis actually accept anybody who is not Muslim to help them?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, you have to understand, we have one world here, and God himself gave us the real democracy. He said, you follow me if you want, be a believer, or you be a disbeliever, and I still take care of you. So you don't have to be a Muslim to help. We all came from, not apes the way they teach in the science schools, but in reality, we came from Adam and Eve. Adam and Eve is where we all came from. And the story of Adam, how it's been created in our teaching, is the samples of all the different things God took of the earth. The white earth, the soil from the red, the black one, from the mountains, from the easy one, from the oceans. So that's why we have human being personality, easygoing person, very difficult person to get along, different colors, all these things, because we all came from Adam and Eve. So we're all human, and we have to respect that. And in Islam, the faith, the Quran himself says, "Lakum deenakum wali deen." You have your way, and I have my way. You do not force and impose anybody. Whether the person is a Muslim or non-Muslim is not the issue. We are all human. We're supposed to help each other. It doesn't matter where the problem was. I really commend President Clinton when he went there and helped with Bosnia. I mean, a lot of Europeans were saying this is in the heart of Europe. It's a Muslim. We don't want it. And they were just leaving all the bad things that was happening. He went there and stepped in. That's the kind of America we love. America who really says whoever is pulling, no, don't do that, whether you're a Muslim or non-Muslim.
You mentioned a few times Bosnia, and look at us, you and me. We're talking here in Washington, D.C. You're from Somalia, I'm from Bosnia.
Yes.
And we have something common.
Yes.
A lot of people from both countries are coming as refugees
Yes.
here in the United States.
Yeah.
And, but your war is so much tougher and longer.
Yeah. We have to try our best. I mean, I came here as a student. I went to University of Maryland. I graduated. I worked both in the private sector, big name like the Prudential, MCI, Citibank, Riksbank, and work with the local government, driving taxi, you name it, all kind of things here. And we made this thing. Actually, it was another one who really invited us, all of us in Washington area, and said, hey, here's our enemy in the heart of our country, in the capital, Mogadishu. So we get together and we become a big advocacy. By the way, not only the Shabab and the people who were fighting kicked them out. We were more problem to the Ethiopians than anybody else because there's a lot of Somali Americans, Somali Europeans, and they were inviting and telling their congressmen, their representatives, the abuses, and nobody talks about those things. Speaking about the crime that's been taken in that country, there was all kind of problems that they did, that the international people was watching. Nobody said anything about it. And I hope one day there will be a really fair way of looking what happened and people take responsibility. I mean, the West now is after Bashir and saying he did this and that. There are people who their hands are a lot of blood than Bashir. And we have to stop the hypocrisy. Whoever is doing wrong, we have to go after them, not support him.
And on the end, East Africa is for all of us, this planet is mother place.
Yes.
And that place is not the happiest place in this planet right now.
Yes.
And how actually every of us on this planet can be aware,
yes,
actually, that your territory
yes,
is our territory also.
Yes, absolutely.
We are connected.
Absolutely. Well, you know, I know the story of the archaeologist who went there in Kenya and all that stuff. It's a very good thing. You're right. I mean, that's where the pointing finger of the human race and all that stuff. And that's what really we have to remember. If you look deep under the skin, all of us are the same. And we all have blood that's red. Maybe somebody from Bosnia, if you are really need help of blood, cannot help you if they don't have the right type. I, as a Somalian who's not a white person here, maybe my blood can work for you. We are all human and we have to really help each other. And Somalia was actually known when we had peace, the most hospitable place for foreigners. If the people on the street sees you, you disrespecting foreigner, people will jump on you. What do you need from the foreigner? Why are you doing this? This person is a guest to our country. Sudan still have that wonderful thing. And one day Somalia, when it become peace, we're going to go back to that. We have Italians who colonized the country years ago, but they come there and they're always welcome. And they always have relationship, regardless when Somalia was friends with the communist side or the eastern side or the west side. Same thing with Germany. Germany always had good relations with Somalia. They're actually the one who built our police force, whether we were friendly with Russia or not. So Somalia, we all welcome people from abroad. We don't see that because this person looks different or this person has a different religion. That's none of our business. You know, if the person can be whatever they want, but we're all human and we have to help each other. Whether it's today Somalia, yesterday was Bosnia, it could be another country of different color tomorrow. We all have to stand up as a human race and help each other.
Mr. Ali, thank you so much for this conversation.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for the time.